Hey everybody, it's Delaney. I took a short summer break from making these videos, but now that school is back in full swing, I'll be making them much more regularly. I haven't seen any new questions from you guys over the summer, but I do have a super cool scientific discovery. Here's a little bit of background first. All sharks have little interlocking scales that make up their skin. They're called dermal denticles, which is a big fancy science word for skin teeth. Scientists were studying whale sharks when they noticed something really interesting. Whale sharks have eyes that stick out a little bit from their head, so they're able to be poked by things in the water. Not very fun, right? Well, scientists discovered that the interlocking scales, the dermal denticles of the whale shark, go all the way into its eyeballs. Isn't that crazy? And here's the weird part. Because dermal denticles are technically teeth, whale sharks have teeth on their eyeballs. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, let's jump into today's real topic, the manatee. Manatees are marine mammals, which means they are warm-blooded, breathe air, and have babies instead of eggs. While manatees are usually written off as the fat, roly-poly sea cow, they actually don't have very much body fat. In a marine mammal, it's called blubber, and manatees actually just have really big rib bones, which makes them their cute round size. Because they don't have very much blubber, they have to stay in relatively warm water. Manatees don't do so well in water that's below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty chilly. But a really good place to go see manatees during the winter is the Tampa Electric Company, because their cooling ponds stay warm all year, so the manatees go there to gather so that they can stay warm. Other than boat strikes, cold stun is one of the main reasons that manatees have to go to the hospital. Cold stun is the fancy science term for when an animal gets so cold that it can't go about its normal day. When a manatee is rescued, it will usually go to Mote Marine Laboratory, where the scientists there can nurse it back to health. And, not too long ago, on June 18th, Mote Marine released a mama and a baby calf back into the natural habitat. The mom had been struck by a boat, so Mote took them in, nursed them back to health, and put them back out into the wild. Like I said, manatees are mammals, which means they breathe air. Manatees will usually surface every 3 to 5 minutes, so keep an eye out when you see one, but they can stay on the bottom for up to 20 minutes. Isn't that crazy? Manatees are herbivores, which means they eat plants. But just like people, they lose teeth every once in a while. And, just like sharks, manatees constantly regrow their teeth. They have rows and rows of teeth just waiting to be used. It's called marching molars. Manatees live a super chill lifestyle. They can sleep for between 10 and 14 hours a day and eat for another 8 hours a day. Manatees have to eat about 15% of their body weight in seagrass every day. For the manatees at Mote Marine, that means 72 heads of lettuce each per day. That's so much food. Manatees don't really have any predators in the wild. Their main threat are people. Luckily, there are a bunch of protections in place to keep manatees safe. As always, keep as much plastic out of the waterway as you can. Recycle what you can and reuse what you can't. Manatees are especially threatened by discarded fishing line. Because their bodies are so big, they get tangled really easily. They don't exactly have a way to get it off either. Just like with dolphins and turtles, it's super important to pay attention to speed signs when you're on a boat in the waterway. Boats typically are restricted to either slow, no wake, or idle. Whoever is driving the boat definitely needs to have a good idea of what each of these speeds mean and what to do if you see an animal out in the wild. Here's a tip. Don't go see it. Stay as far away from the animal as you can while still being safe in the waterway. Remember, they are wild animals, they are not pets, so leave them alone to go about their normal day. Another sign you'll see along the Sarasota waterway especially is seagrass area. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet for manatees, and when a boat goes over it, the boat motor can tear up some of the seagrass, and it takes years and years for that seagrass to go back. So, whoever's driving the boat also needs to know to stay out of seagrass areas so that manatees can get as much seagrass as they want. Keep these tips in mind next time you go boating in Sarasota Bay, and have fun manatee watching. As always, check out RHS Aquascience.com for the coloring and puzzle sheet, and the Microsoft forum where you can Tell me how I did. Drop some suggestions for new videos, or even send in some questions. I really love answering you guys' questions, so make sure to send them in. See you next week!